Very good evening to you. Welcome to Antalya. David Goldstrom together with David Morgan, who I've been reminded on our email website is not only 4 times a Commonwealth gold medalist, also World Masters champion and European Masters champion with some records as well. We might catch up with a little bit of that in a moment. Meanwhile, apologies for being a few minutes late, but you've missed nothing of significance so far in this men's 62 kilo category, and you've arrived at the perfect moment as Lichwald of the Ukraine lifts 130 kilos in his first attempt at that weight.
That's 10 kilos more than he was listed at the weigh-in. He had 120 down, jumped a massive 10 kilos. So obviously the warm-up has gone very well.
And he's right on his personal best now. Just to bring you up to date, we're here in this 62 kilo category. That's 136 and 3/4 pounds, almost 9 3/4 stones, as Popov, this is Vladimir Popov of Moldavia, comes onto the stage. A couple of notable absentees. Oleszuk, the world champion, who's injured, and Pashalov, the Olympic champion of Croatia, also not able to be here. Popov getting 130 kilos, and things just beginning to warm up. That's his second lift as well. The body weight's likely to come into play here. Popov, you just saw, 61 kilos 50, and the Ukrainian who preceded him, Lichwald, a little bit lighter, 61.45, and Elkan Suleimanov already got 130 kilos. He's the lightest of the lot at 61.40. But now onto the stage. This is Stefan Georgiev's second attempt. He's in at 61.70, so this is not going to put him in the first 3 if he gets it, and he doesn't.
Well, this is not good. If you obviously you didn't see it earlier, but he just pulled on the first one, which was a failure. He's failed this second lift, so he's now really up against it. He only has 1 attempt left to stay in this competition.
Yeah, we're looking at a very experienced lifter in Georgiev. We'll see him again, former world and European champion. And here's another man who had a first failure. As you can gather from the noise in the Dilish Sabanci Hall here in Antalya, he's Turkey's man. This is Mushahit Yagci, and he's got a PB of 137.5, but he's certainly under a little bit of pressure now. He didn't look at all convinced first attempt. 3rd in Europe back in 1998, 4th in the world here last November when he snatched 135 kilos. 20 seconds on the clock.
And again, David, really just as bad as the first one.
And 2 men under serious pressure now. This 62 kilo category, the European record is 325 kilos. That's held by the absent Olympic champion Pashalov. Likewise, the snatch is 150 kilos, so we're a long way off that. And the clean and jerk world record, that's 181 kilos. That's from Gennady Oleszuk, who set that in the World Championships here last November. And he, as I just mentioned, absent as well. So that's a bit disappointing, but sadly, injuries do occur in the sport all too regularly. Georgiev fighting to stay alive in the competition. This time he does it. So the Bulgarian, now 27 years of age, 3rd in the World Championships here, and he snatched 135 kilos here last November, but he's 5 kilos shy of that tonight.
Yes, has done 140 in the past, so...
Yes, he did that when he finished, ironically, out of the overall medals in the 99 European Championships. They were in Spain, in La Coruña. That's where his PBs came. He's got no less than 30 medals, 10 golds, 10 silvers and 14 bronze medals, Georgiev. But his heyday, I suppose you'd say, David, in the 97-98 period when he got the world and the European title. And that change of weight categories since then, he's just...
Yeah, but also he was a much better lifter when he was being coached by Georgiev. I mean, I mentioned this earlier. The Bulgarians are definitely not training as hard as they normally do. They've been going into the gym once a day instead of twice a day while they're here, and today they really tapered off in their training, and that's not how they used to train.
Well, I wonder how this man's going to fare this evening. This is the man from Azerbaijan, 28-year-old Elkan Suleimanov, second in Europe in 2001 in Trent, Slovakia, and he's already got 130, and that's 2.5 kilos up on last year. He was 8th in the Olympic Games, and his brother Hafiz used to lift for the Turkish team. Could be in for a few medals tonight, this man, David. Very deep.
He did the same on that as the first one. You may have noticed at the bottom position, he just, instead of keeping his chest up and being very tight, he just for a second there relaxed and sank in quite deep. And if you watch here, was quite lucky to manage to keep hold of that, had to push the knees forward before standing up.
Yes, for 1 second I didn't think he was going to do that, but he's kept his sequence going. He's got one more attempt, and here's Alexander Lichwald. Lichwald, 24 years of age, had a fair world championship here, finished 9th, but this is 2.5 kilos up on his best ever snatch weight in competition. So a new PB for his third and final attempt, and that looked good.
It's the best I've ever seen him.
Well, David, we've already had 2 gold medals in the women's categories for the Ukraine. Zinoeva yesterday in the women's 48 kilos, and then Natalia Skakun just 2 hours ago in the women's 63 kilos in very decisive style. And certainly it does look as if
the world record by 2 kilos, and it looked easy,
and you know, set a new European total, and it does seem that the squad is really in good condition. Now Popov.
Yes, third lift, already succeeded with 127.5 and 130. So let's see if he can complete the sequence. He can. So he also finishes on 132.5.
Yeah, still Leonidas Sabanis of Greece to start lifting, and the places really haven't changed because of the body weight differences. It's Suleimanov with 61 kilos 40 body weight leads the 132.5 kilo achievers. The Ukrainian in second place, Popov third.
This Turk has failed absolutely miserably with 130. Decided to come out on 132.5.
It won't be the first time he's tried this before.
I'd be very impressed if he can pull this out. Two failures at 130. So a real gamble.
"20 seconds. And I'm afraid no total for Mushahit Yagci, and that's a real disappointment.
Yes, every weight that he's tried today has just looked too heavy. Didn't have the power to get enough height on the bar to fix overhead.
Now what this means is that there are, or what it means, 4 lifts remaining, and there is Leonidas Sabanis, massively experienced, years of age, He's the best achiever amongst all of the field by a long way. Twice a world champion, twice an Olympic silver medalist and European champion back in 1996. We haven't seen too much of him since the Olympic Games in Sydney when he finished in the silver medal position. He reappeared for the Mediterranean Games, and then three days before the World Championships here last November, he injured his right thigh pretty seriously, and he's been out since then. So how strong is he on the comeback now? 1:35 for the outright lead at his first attempt.
Oh. Well, that was an easy start.
Well, in Tunis in the Mediterranean Games last year, he snatched 137.5 and he clean and jerked 165 for a total of 302. That's well below his absolute all-time best of 320, which he did in the World Championships in Lahti, which was his second world title. I was going to say, I didn't think he'd be coming here in quite that condition. But he may not have to be in that condition, David, to win this.
Well, no, I mean, we've got two men left in the competitions. Suleimanov coming onto the stage now. This is his final attempt. Now, he's lighter than Leonardis Sabanis. So if he succeeds with this attempt, he will go into the lead. However, Sabanis has got two lifts left and looked very, very comfortable on his opener.
Sabanis, of course, second to Nikolai Peshalov of Croatia.
So let's see if he can sustain an option on this one. If he relaxes like he did before, the likelihood is he'll lose it behind. Well, over-corrected. So Sabanis already has the gold.
And this, of course, David, the category in which Naim Suleimanoglu tried unsuccessfully to do an incredible comeback for a fourth Olympic gold medal, but he failed in Sydney on all three snatch attempts.
And incidentally, those snatch attempts were at 145, so...
Yes, they were pretty massive. So Sabanis has got a clear run at this now, David. 140 kilos, 7.5 short of his personal best. But what he can do now is just build advantage for the second half.
He's got the gold medal already, so as you say, David, he can relax and just gradually increase his lead.
The stakes, of course, in the European Championships will get higher, as they will in the World Championships, the closer we get to the Olympic Games. This is now, if you like, the real stepping stone towards Athens. From here on in, the next World Championships in Poland and next year's European Championships in Greece will see a higher standard.
Doesn't seem to have suffered too much from that leg injury.
Well, if you look around at the moment, I mean, Sabanis, he's 30 years of age, but the Olympic Games is only now a couple of years away. 62 category. At the moment, there's nobody, there's Peshalov, but he's also in that sort of veteran stage. Oleshuk would be the other one, but there's not that many at the moment. So Sabanis must be thinking to himself, if he can stay healthy from here on in.
Well, I think that's the key, staying healthy. I mean, there's so many athletes that are below par in this championship or not competing because of injuries. I think we discussed earlier in the week 4 of the Turkish team are not lifting purely because of injury.
Yeah, and you can't predict it. It's just one of those things that happens. It's a very unfortunate circumstance. But what do they say? Sport takes place between injuries.
That's right.
Certainly true in this particular one.
We actually had an email earlier from who was asking about how do you alter your training as you get older, and I presume that one was directed at me. And all I can say is that you lift heavy less often.
Well, we've got a couple of moments here, David, so a little bit of self-promotion. You know, you've got the World Masters titles, we mentioned that right at the beginning, and you've got the records, haven't you, as well?
Got the world record, European and World Masters record on the Snatch.
So that's how much?
140.5. I mean, the Masters, I mean, just for people at home, the Masters is, you don't become a master until you're 35, and it goes up in 5-year increments right up to 85 plus. And believe it or not, there are guys still lifting at 85 and doing pretty well.
So 142.5 kilos, and this will give him a 10 kilo advantage at the halfway stage, which is massive. 8 seconds. Well, I'm not going to say that it's going to give too much encouragement, because he's taken the gold medal, and with it a 7.5 kilo advantage over his nearest pursuer. That's Elkan Suleimanov of Azerbaijan, who gets the silver medal by virtue of lighter body weight over Alexander Lichwald of the Ukraine. And the man who misses out is the Moldavian Vladimir Popov, 61 kilos 50, also lifting 132.5 kilos, but I'm afraid no medal for him. And the Turkish lifter, 3 failures, as you can see there at the bottom, and so not, I have to say, David, a terribly high quality start to this competition. Sabanis, well, he can only lose this, nobody else can win it. We're going to take a short break. When we do come back, we're going to take a look at the highlights from 2 women's competitions from earlier today, as well as getting enough points, because it works on a points basis, and it's very difficult if you're a Belgian, because you've not got very many lifters, so you can't accumulate too many points. The only way you accumulate points in that situation is that you've got to be a winner.
Yes, which seems a bit unfair, really, but of course we've got the women's weightlifting in the Olympic Games now, so the men's numbers have to be reduced somehow.
Well, I think, in fact, Dr. Thomas Iron, as the president of the International Weightlifting Federation and MC member, I think he's managed to actually achieve a few more places for weightlifters at the upcoming Athens Olympic Games. And there's very few sports who achieve that these days. The business plan is always trying to push them down, so well done to him for at least doing that.
It's a shame that there's a sort of business plan pushing things down or pushing things up.
It's just the size of the games, it's manageability.
Yeah, it's a shame though, because it means that some nations will be unable to send any representatives.
Well, here's this 7.5 kilo increase. He's worked well on the clean. Now, has he got the strength to hold this above his head? Well, he's a fighter, and he's done it.
That's 5 lifts out of 5. He's having a pretty good day for somebody who's injured.
Well, maybe he's inspired that he's in the A group. Maybe he's also inspired because the fact is that, you know, the Turkish lifter, Yagci, he's bombed out because he didn't get any snatches, so that's one sculpt that he's got out of the way of. And, you know, Stefan Georgiev of Bulgaria, who's a quality lifter, but suddenly, you know, he's only 7.5 kilos ahead of him. So, you know, in terms of position in a major championship, he's very much...
Well, he's at least 6th, so...
You know, I can't even believe that he's been anywhere near that in Europe. I mean, he was 9th in Europe in the 99 and last year's European Championships. He was 11th in the world, so those are decent efforts. But he's really on for his best ever placing, and you can only beat the people that turn up.
Well, exactly.
So he's got the full 2 minutes, and he's got 1:45 of that, and he's just wisely only asked for an extra 0.5 kilos.
But this'll give him 2:67.
267 is still 5 kilos down from his absolute best, but what it does actually equal, David, is the announced total. That's the total that he put in as his target to achieve here at these championships. So if he does that, he'll have done very well indeed. Particularly, as you mentioned earlier on, he's had this, you know, aggravating back problem. 15 times national champion of his country. And that's the scene in this warm-up room. I think back to last September when I came here, David, we were making the preparations, and that room didn't even exist. I came here and there were sort of 30, 40 workmen all building it, you know, furiously away. And there we were in November, the concrete was barely dry. Still,
they're here this week just adding the last touches of blue paint earlier on.
So Tom Georgiev for Belgian for 6 out of 6. Now if he does this, you really can't complain. It's been a good night's work.
Well, I think he's done well already.
I think he has.
This actually is going to put him on 270.
Is it 270?
Yeah, because he's decided to go for 147.
Aha. Yes, we've been chatting away, and he's been manipulating the weights. But can he lift them now? 270.
Well,
that'd be.
He's built his confidence.
Well, the cleans have got better and better. One last effort. Come on.
Well, I don't think you can complain at that.
No.
5 out of 6.
Good lifting. 265. And I think all credit to him. I mean, he saw the opportunity to go a little bit further, and you've got to be prepared to take it on. And he was prepared to give it a go. But he's not done any. Hopefully, he's not done any damage to himself. Now that obviously leaves him in the overall lead. There were 2 other Albanians who lifted with John Lubin in Great Britain earlier today, but they only managed, well, one of them managed to, in the end, get a total of 235, so they were well below the ability of these men tonight. Now, Lichwald of the Ukraine, Alexander Lichwald, in 3rd place at the halfway.
Ran through 3 very good, confident snatches. Now, he's an athlete that is very, very strong in this first phase, this clean phase, and then his jerk, the second part of the lift, has often let him down in the past, but who knows? See, look, just very, very strong in that phase.
Well, that looked okay. He's 5 kilos in below his personal best of 160, which he achieved in the Worlds here last year.
So he now goes into the lead.
Indeed, he does 61 kilos 45.
Yes, so quite light.
It's the man from Azerbaijan, Suleimanov, who's got the real lightweight at 61 kilos 40. But now this is consolation time for Mushahit Yagci, for the 29-year-old lifter for the host nation.
Yes, can't make a total, so just going for a medal in the clean and jerk, I guess. I would think that he's going to just get this in and then wait and perhaps see what he needs to perhaps edge a bronze. Well, that's his 4th failure out of 4 today. But I suppose that's one of the things of having the medals for the snatch, clean and jerk, and the total. At least if you miss all of your snatches, you've still got some incentive to go on and go for a medal in the clean and jerk. So another all-important board where all the the tactics goes on.
Yeah, Georgiev at 165, and that looks to be like the... Just looking at Georgiev.
Suleimanov actually was posted at 165. He's come down to 160, which would suggest that perhaps his warm-up hasn't gone as well as it should have done.
Georgiev. Georgiev going for higher stakes, David, because he's down at 130, so he's really got to try and make up on the clean and jerk.
Well, he's still, I just caught a glimpse in the warm-up room there, he's still posted at 165, so that would suggest that his warm-up is going to plan.
Now the Turk. Oh, I think any aspirations he's had, David, of getting something out of the clean and jerk have gone. I think this is just purely because he's here on a home stage. I suspect if he'd been in another hall in another country, he'd have called it a day.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think he just wants to get one lift in for the home crowd. Yeah, disappointing day for him.
You just come in, David Goldstrom together with David Morgan, the second half of this men's 62 kilo competition. A couple of notable absentees. I'll tell you about those in a moment. Well, he's got the crowd applause on his side there, but it's really sympathy more than anything else. Yes, just to remind you, Gennady Oleshchuk, the world champion from Belarus, not here. He's injured, and also Pashalov from Croatia, the Olympic champion, unable to participate. So that's disappointing, David, because we've lost two men who would have been really good in this fight, with Leonidas Sabanis, who leads this competition by quite a big margin. Popov now of Moldavia, Vladimir Popov, 25 years of age. 165 as a personal best, so this is a fairly modest start as well. In Europe a year ago, and
we had to work hard out of that clean, but pretty strong in the second phase.
I was just about to say he's going to have to work pretty hard if he wants to get an overall bronze medal again. So Suleimanov already at least with one silver medal. Now 160. Now you pointed out, David, that he's come down.
Yes, he was in at 165, so not sure what the tactics are here. Maybe it's just that he doesn't feel as good as he thought he would.
They might have assessed it differently, having seen the performance of the field as well. He might be saying, well, I don't need to be that extravagant. Let's get one straightforward lift in. Or maybe not.
Perhaps that's why he came down to 160. Yeah, very comfortable in the clean, but
very fragile overhead. He was completely off balance as well. Heel on the back of his heels, and that was not the way to deal with a clean and jerk. Now Lichwald, of course, Lichwald in third place. This may profit him. He's coming in at 160 now. Now this equals his personal best.
Yes, he had a good snatch section, ran through 3 successful snatches, 125, 130 and 132.5. So this clean and jerk of 160 will put him on 292.5. And it must be a personal best total if he succeeds.
It's equal to his personal best on the clean and jerk.
But he did a personal best in the snatch though, didn't he? So it must be a personal best total. So he's having a pretty good day.
Yes, 292.5. He's 2.5 better than he's ever been. Interesting also about Lichwald, at senior level he's achieved a couple of bronze medals, but that's the best he's done at senior level. Also at junior level he's never been better than a bronze medalist. So Popov also asking for 160. So this is 2.5 kilos. This would take him up to 292.5, but Lichwald will still stay in the lead because he's the lighter of the two. 61.50. Popov 61.45. Suleimanov, who had that failure though, he's the lightest of the lot.
Again, you see, very, very hard in the clean. Really had to work, but he can afford to because he's very strong in the second phase of the lift. A lot of these athletes are cleaning the weights very, very comfortably, but
he's the reverse.
He's the reverse, but he's got that good ability in the jerk.
So Popov moves up into overall second place, and of course second place in the clean and jerk. In the snatch he was down in 4th place, equal with Lichwald, but of course he was the man who lost the bronze medal in the snatch phase by being just that little fraction heavier. So here comes Suleimanov. This is an important lift, it really is, because if he's going to stay in this competition, David, he can't afford to miss this.
Well, this will put him back into the lead by virtue of lighter body weight. Now, very, very strong in that first part of the lift, but really needs to get the jerk section together. So let's see what he can do. There's that easy clean. Now, this is where he let him down before and has let him down again. So he's putting himself under real pressure now. 2 failures at 160. So we're definitely aware of why he dropped his starting poundage now.
Yes, I mean, he got 160, I mean, he got 130 and he got 160 to give him 290 in the World Championships here. Well, in fact, I'm just... in fact, he didn't get... So my apologies, actually, he didn't get 160. He only got 155, David, here in Antalya. He tried 160 twice last November, and he didn't get it. Well, I think you can guess who's coming out next.
Well, this is in a way, though, this is perhaps an opportunity for possibly a medal on the clean and jerk.
Remembering that Georgiev has still got to come out and Sabanis has got to come out. They've both got 3 lifts to go. But Mukahit 61.65. He hasn't got the weight on his side. There's Naimoglu, who's the...
But so far we've had 1 athlete succeed.
Triple Olympic champion, of course.
Succeed with the 160. So Popov was 61.50. The Turk is 61.65. So if he actually succeeds with this lift, it would put him in the bronze medal position at the moment.
Yeah, but he's not going to hold on to it. I mean, you've got 2 men there, David. Sabanis and Georgiev are going to come out. I really can't see him, holding on to a medal. And he's not coming out now. He's going to wait for some extravagant attempt. Because there's no point, is there? I mean, if he wants to go for a medal, he might as well see what he has to do and then, come and have one pot at it.
Yeah, agreed. Having said that, Suleimanov has failed with 160 twice.
Yes, well, I mean, he's now in serious danger of losing a total, and at the beginning of this competition or early on, I was saying, well, I thought he might have a real chance of figuring in a major way in the medals, but now suddenly he could go from being, you know, a major contender to, frankly, without being impolite, a has-been, because it's all on his shoulders now. It really is. Pressure's there. So we'd like him to do this. Well, somehow, if he stands still, no. That's no lift, no total. His feet were never steady. He wasn't in line. He's got a 2-to-1. I don't know how the central referee reckons that was a good lift. I mean, his feet never stopped moving there, David. That was a clear no lift.
It's a shame.
It is a shame, because he wasn't, you know, look how close he got to it. Just tries to bring that right leg forward, and then the left one goes back, and he just can't stabilize. He's got to stay on the platform as well. He was very close. You have a look how close he was to getting off the back of the platform here. Looks as if he's going to make it, and then suddenly we're going walkies.
So, 162.
So we've now got two men in this AIM final who failed to total.
Yes, which of course puts...
would you believe that Tom...
the Belgian fifth place.
He's actually in for all at the moment. And this is Sabanis, the halfway leader, with 7.5 kilos advantage to open up on 162.5 kilos. This is 10 kilos inside his personal best. He's probably not tuned to that level.
Well, that wasn't perfect. I'm not sure if he's going to be done for a press out on that lift. No, it's fine. So he's on 302.5.
So he's now 10 kilos up on his closest pursuer, but of course Georgiev still to start. But whatever Georgiev does, remember, he's coming in here 10 kilos behind Sabanis, but it's not his turn, because now, having watched Suleimanov bomb out, this is the moment that Yagci thinks that a medal could be his if he picks this up. 162.5, which would put him, into, well, he's the same body weight as Sabanis, but it would put him into second place in the clean and jerk.
Oh, it's good. Now, come on, let's see it. This would be a real consolation.
Well. Well, it's not a guaranteed medal yet, David, because Georgiev's got 3, Lichval's got an extra lift to come.
It's not guaranteed, but it's the best that he could have done, and you know, to pull that out after 5 failed lifts, or should I say 4 failed lifts, no total. Maybe he'll get a consolation. Who knows?
Well, Sabanis is going to stay ahead of him. He's got 2 chances, but there are 3 other men out there who can knock him off the podium. And it will be the Moldavian Popov to try and take 162.5. Now, if he does this, David, he will go ahead by virtue of his lighter body weight. In fact, he'll go into the overall lead and push the Turk down into 3rd place, because he is lighter than Sabanis.
So important.
If he fails, of course, that will be it. He will stay below Mujahid because he won't have the kilos, and he's below. So, have the Turks got this right? There's still Lichwald lurking in the wings. There's still Georgiev.
So let's look at this.
Well, if
61.65.
No.
We've got...
No, it's just if Lichwald fails, then he's got a chance. Then he's got a bronze.
Yes, of course. Yes, of course, Lichwald is... well, this is interesting. Lichwald is the lighter, so he actually only needed 162.5, but the bar has gone to 165, meaning he was 65. So,
and Georgiev coming in at 165. Well, has the warm-up gone as well as the starting weight might suggest? Remember, he's 10 kilos behind at the halfway stage, behind Sabanis. So this would reduce the deficit to 7.5. And does so.
It's a good start.
Well, Georgiev is capable of a 170. Sabanis, you said you weren't too convinced about Sabanis.
Well, he's got a 10-kilo lead in the snatch, and is he lighter or is he heavier? Georgiev was 61.7, so he's actually lighter. So Georgiev has got to do 12.5 more to beat Sabanis. So I just can't see any way of Georgiev beating Sabanis. If Sabanis does this, Georgiev's got to do 177 to beat him, which is possible, but unlikely.
It's all really down to whether he can make this lift. If he starts to fall apart now, then Georgiev might have a glimmer of hope.
Well, there's a glimmer.
That's what I was trying to suggest. I thought you spotted it, David, that the first clean and jerk, he didn't look that strong.
No, well, this is the thing, if you've had a leg injury, you're not going to notice it so much on the snatch lift, because the snatch is more about the pull and about speed, whereas the clean and jerk, to stand up with those kind of weights, you need to be very, very strong in the legs. And if you've had a leg injury and your leg strength is down, this is where you're going to start seeing it.
So now Lichwald coming in at 61.45 than Sabanis, lighter than Stefan Georgiev, who leads the clean and jerk. So this is going to boost him up to lead in the clean and jerk if he can get it, by virtue of lighter body weight, and it's going to give him 297.5, which is going to put him within 5 kilos of Sabanis. But he can't do that now. The relevance of that is that Mujahid Yagci has got the bronze medal in the clean and jerk. Because Georgiev leads, Sabanis is second. They're the only two lifters with attempts left. So out of nowhere, after those 4 failures, Mujahid Yagci has got himself a bronze medal.
So I think Sabanis is now going to try this 165. And then the question is, what Stefan Georgiev going to do? Is he going to come out at 167 to take the gold on the clean and jerk, and then leave himself a final attempt to go for 175 to give him the overall?
Well, I think that sounds a pretty sensible plan. Yeah. I think what he's obviously going to hope for here is that Sabanis is in trouble. Well, he's got the clean, at least that's okay.
That's better. That's better than the first one. Much more convincing.
And the determination to make sure that he didn't give away all the advantage that he built for himself in the first half of the competition. And 3:05, and that leaves Georgiev once again 10 kilos behind, with 2 lifts to go. So now here's Georgiev, 61.70. He is the heavier, so he's got to go 67.5 as you predicted.
But having said that, the bar is going to 175. Well, I'm not sure what the significance of 175 kilos is, because he's heavier. He was 10 down in the snatch, so that means that he doesn't need to win the clean and jerk. He only needs 167.5. If he's going for the overall, he needs 177.5. Now I'm thinking, what is the significance of 175? There is no significance of 175 unless he was the lighter man. He isn't the lighter man, he's the heavier man, weighing 61.70.
I just don't understand.
I don't get it.
Well, I don't understand the whole logic in it. I mean, surely, as you said, David, for goodness sake, do the 160.
Wait, here we go. Now I understand the logic. The bar's been raised to 177.5, so he's not bothered about the clean and jerk gold. He wants to steal the title. Well, this will give him the clean and jerk gold anyway, but he wants the title. And he's asked the crowd to be quiet at the end of the last lift. Now, I've seen him, he's been up around these weights before. Whether or not he can pull it off, well, he's got 2 attempts.
Well,
this is interesting. Right, the bar's now going to 167.5. This is sensible. Win the gold medal on the clean and jerk, then go for your 177.5 for the total. Well, I think maybe this was stalling tactics. Yeah, this is the sensible thing to do. Get at least 1 gold.
Well, they should be starting that clock and giving him a minute. They've started it on 50 seconds. I mean, that's ridiculous. So he's got 44 seconds, which in fact is enough time. But they should have given him a full minute. What on earth is going on?
Well, this for the gold on the clean and jerk. Good clean. Now, let's make sure of it, which he does. So there's 1 gold. Now the big question, has he got enough in him to do 177.5? It's possible. It's possible. That wasn't he wasn't struggling to stand up from the low position.
We've seen 1 or 2 Bulgarians. I mean, Georgiev Kirillova springs to mind earlier this afternoon, who really put in a gutsy 120 effort when it never looked likely that she could continue the clean and jerk that she started. But I'm not convinced, David.
I haven't looked at the 67. There's a question mark on the jerk. There's a question mark, but he cleaned the weight well. Cleaned the weight very, very easily. I
mean, they got 170. I think that they're going to surely.
Well, there's no point in taking.
No, they'll just stop that and change that again and buy some time.
You either finish the competition now, you go for 177.5. There's no point in just taking the 170. Well, the clock's been stopped.
Yeah, I mean, all they're doing is buying a bit of time, aren't they?
Yeah.
Just giving him that many more seconds, another minute. Funnily enough, when they chose to stop and change the weight, they didn't actually gain too much time.
So I think maybe he's finished. Maybe he's thinking.
But what's the point?
77
is beyond him.
Is beyond him. Who knows?
Well, I think
no. Is he?
What?
Yeah, the competition's finished.
It's done.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he's given Sabanis best.
His realisation is that 177. Absolutely beyond him, and it means that Leonidis Sabanis of Greece is the champion with a 305 kilo total, and that is half kilos ahead of Georgiev, who moves up from 5th place at the halfway stage into the silver medal overall, and Alexander Lichwald of the Ukraine getting the bronze medal. But this lift now, this was the lift that in fact hauled him up into that overall silver medal position, and of course the gold medal in the clean and jerk. And our good friend from Belgium, Tom Georgiev, finishes in a really respectable 5th place. Now that must be a lifetime best in Europe for the Belgian, totaling out at 265. Okay, he's well down, but he's come here, he's lifted 5 out of 6, and because he's lifted 5 out of 6 and kept that sequence going right until the last attempt, he's earned that best placing in his career. So that's encouraging. So Greece take the gold, then Bulgaria, then the Ukraine. There's the clean and jerk. Stefan Georgiev ahead of Sabanis, 167.5, and then 162.5 for Mujahid Yagci of Turkey. A really brave comeback to grab the bronze medal in the clean and jerk. Overall, Sabanis, double Olympic silver medalist, twice a world champion, once a European champion, now twice a European champion here in 2002. So, David, not the greatest 62 kilo competition we've seen, but nice to see Sabanis back.
That's right, a couple of people missing, but still a good competition to watch, though.
So tomorrow, more action here, 3 more championships to be decided. The women's 69 kilos, the women's 75 kilos, and then in the evening, the 69 kilos, and all being well, that should bring into action the Olympic champion and the world champion, Galibin Boevsky of Bulgaria. Well, we've seen one Bulgarian fight back today. There we are, David. Once again, that's our little home at the back of the hall here.
Right, and that's me waving.
I think they know the difference. We don't see too much.
I think they should show us more often.
Well, I think the viewers might have a thought of that. Just to remind you, of course, our website is eurosport.com, through into Club Eurosport for messages, thoughts and questions, or you can use www.weightlifting.de. That's our weightlifting website. That's also connected into Club Eurosport. For those of you who'd like to have perhaps a more comprehensive look at the results and the records, then there's the Turkish weightlifting site. That's www.halterfed, that's HALTER fed.gov.tr, and that's got all the A group, B group results and all the upcoming start lists for the rest of the week. So between those 3 websites, Eurosport.com to get in touch with us, and maybe the Turkish Federation if you want to catch up on the detail. Just reflection also, David, on Michaela Breeze. Best ever today from Michaela in the women's 58 kilo competition.
Yes, made a very good comeback. 2.5 kilos on her best total, which looks very good for the Commonwealth Games, which will be happening later on this year.
And also the good news when she was with us in the commentary box earlier on, no after effects, no problems with the back, feeling good, and just knowing that needs to sort herself out, as she said herself, mentally, so that the 3rd attempt on the snatch, which she lost really not because of strength, but just because she wasn't really mentally tough enough to actually pick that bar up, and likewise with the 3rd clean and jerk. If she can work on that, then I think she can pick those weights up.
Well, she told me that she hadn't snatched 85 in training, so that was the first time that she'd actually done 85 since she'd been back, and it's nice to have done these lifts in training. It's good for the brain. It's hard to come out and do more training vests.
Second from the left there, that's Yanis Skouros, the General Secretary of the International Weightlifting Federation and the President of the Hellenic Weightlifting Federation. To his right there, 3rd from the left there, that's Dr. Thomas Ayan, IOC member and the President of the International Weightlifting Federation in the medal presentation party. 3rd place overall going to Alexander Lichwald of the Ukraine. The Ukraine having a good championship here. They've got 2 women's titles already. And Lichwald with 132.5, 160 for 292.5. 5 kilos better overall. Georgiev, 130 kilos, so behind Lichwald in the snatch, but then 167.5 to overtake him, 297.5 his total.
Yeah, shame that the Bulgarian didn't manage, to one snatch. If he'd have perhaps got another one in at 135, it may have been a very different story.
Sabanis, the champion for a second time at 62 kilos in Europe, 165, 143.05, and now the Greek national anthem. So gold and overall silver medal Greece today, so they've not had a bad day. Anastasia Sakiri getting the silver medal behind Natalia Skakun in the women's 63 kilo championship. So the medals actually getting quite well spread around. We've had 12 countries now who've got medals, and the Ukraine's consistency